Yo, yo, it's your boy Dubby. I'm back with another story. This one is a story of mentorship and I guess in a way, you could say surprise mentorship, because sometimes folks don't even know they're your mentor till way after the fact, and that's what happened here. Here's the story. When I went to high school, you had to go to a orientation, which was in the summertime, a couple months before school began. And the purpose of this orientation was to meet with your guidance counselor, and actually they expected you at 14 to lay out like a plan for your educational and by extension career path. I know, fucking crazy, but this is how they did shit back in the day. Like, I had my orientation set up and I showed up to my high school and I met with the woman who was to be my high school guidance counselor for the next 4 years of my life, which are formative, important years of my life, when you're that young and everything. So I show up for school dressed for the occasion, and my pants that I had were they had red and black iron crosses all over them. That was the motif. And I had some crazy Vision streetwear sneakers and a painter's cap, remember how those, not a painter's cap, it was a cycler's cap that also had iron crosses. It was full on bad 90s movie uniform. I don't even know what the fuck it was. The most important article of my ensemble was my Metallica Metal Up Your Ass t-shirt. Now, for my metalheads and my old school cats, you're going to remember this graphic that Metallica had. So over top it said Metallica, and then there was a toilet with a fist coming out of the toilet with a switchblade in the hand, and then under it said Metal Up Your Ass. And I believe on the back it was Metal Militia Tour, whatever. And of course, at that time, if you were skating, you had to customize the shit. So I had full belly shirt going, I had cut it here and cut it, and the sleeve was, I was a mess, man. I looked all fucked up. I did not look like business time to go meet with this individual. But anyway, I showed up. I went to the office. I sat down with this lady, sat down, and she asked me what I was into. And right off, I was listen, I'm into music. That's about it. Well, what do you want to do, career path-wise? Do you have any ideas of looking forward to I said, I'm going to be a professional musician. I'm going to play music. That's how I'm going to make my living, yada, yada, yada. She listened to me very patiently, listened to my whole manifesto. And at the end of it said, music sounds very interesting and can probably be a great hobby and side way to make money in college. But we really need to discuss some solid career paths. This is what she said to me. Mrs. Valinati, her name was. I said, this lady doesn't get me. After about an hour into the interview, she drew out of me my second interest. I loved, literature and writing and reading, and I still do to this day. And I think she kind of latched onto that and stored it in the back of her mind until later. Cut through my high school career. I'm not an A student. I'm an D to F student. I'm fucking up bad, dude. Don't do any homework. Don't put any effort forth. Now the test comes, I can crush the test because it's just I've already read the books or whatever. And that'll earn you a D, okay? That'll earn you a fucking, you're not failing. That will get you through. And that's what I did. I did that for 4 years. I don't even know how to put this into a timeline because it's weird how I went from that to, I don't know how this woman talked me into this. I went from D's to F's. Okay, so I'm fucking up the whole time. I want to put forth the minimum effort. Because even as I'm 14, 15, 16, I'm still I want to be a musician. That's what I want to do. And I guess if you're an educational professional, you have, especially someone like a guidance counselor or someone like that, you have a file on the kids, and I'm sure there's some psychological, she must have been aware of I had some fucked up shit at home. I don't know if that's why she did this next thing, but this is the thing that put her apart, that made me go, this woman's more than a guidance counselor. She really fucking cares about me. I'm just chilling out one day in my kitchen at home, and the phone rings. I answer the phone, and it's fucking Mrs. Valinati. And I'm like, hello? She's like, yeah, it's Mrs. Valinati. You know, I'm on vacation with my family. You know, sailing or whatever she was doing. I believe she said she was in Cape Cod. And she says, I'm just calling to touch base with you, make sure everything's going good through the summer, how you're doing, if everything's all right. And I'm like, yeah, you know, everything's good. I'm just chilling, whatever. Very brief, maybe a 45-second conversation, hung up, and I was just like, that was real weird. Like, for her to, like, kind of check in with me and check up on me, essentially. Like, that really meant a lot to me, man. So then from there, I was like, started taking her a lot seriously. And towards the end of high school, you're aging. I'm a little bit older now. I'm 17. And now she's drilling it into me, this writer thing. I just wanted to go to vocational school because I said, you know, what if I just love art and want to be a photographer? And they said, okay. So I signed up for vocational school, thinking it would be easier and get out of class a little bit earlier and smoke some weed and shit. So I told them I wanted to be a photographer. And in vocational school, they signed me up. They said, oh, you want to be a photographer? Next thing I know, they had me, for school credits, working at fucking Kmart at the counter where you develop film. And that's like my photographer training, like thumbing through fucking 5x7s of people's birthday. Like, dude, it was a nightmare. And I was like, this is how people, if you like are a creative, at least when I was growing up, this is like the shit they fucking handed you, G. Like, this is... Nowadays, the kids on their iPhone, like, making $1 million fucking dollars, and they're just, like, 12 selling toys and shit, like Toys by Ryan. But, like, back in the day, like, if you had any kind of inclination to do something like that, it was no bueno, pal. So, anyway, moving forth, we're getting to, it's going to be graduation, and I've, like, I don't know what was going on. I didn't have enough credits to graduate. I'm just fucking plodding through. But, like, midway through the senior year, she is, like, searching for scholarships for me, writing scholarships. After months and months, she found one that had to do with Dr. Martin Luther King, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. And it was a scholarship available to one writer in New Jersey, one minority writer, and you had to write an essay on the legacy of Dr. King. I wound up fucking going, you know what, this woman has convinced me, like, I don't even want to let her down at this point, because that's where the mentorship shit takes hold. And it's like, I'm just going to fucking write this fucking piece on Dr. King. And I wrote this piece on Dr. King. I won the scholarship, dude. It was a full ride to Seton Hall. Next thing I know, I'm not graduating because I don't have enough credits, but because it's a minority scholarship, I have to leave for school immediately to Seton Hall to the minority-only dorm. More on that. I'll probably have some stories about that in the future, but I had to leave in early June or whatever, like before the walk, the graduation walk. I had to be at the fucking minority dorm in Seton Hall, which I did, and I did quite well there and didn't tell them that I hadn't graduated high school until, like, I was on the dean's list. And I'll probably tell that story later because it's not really related to this, but I went to Seton Hall. I was on the scholarship. It was a full ride. So I lost touch with Mrs. Valinati, obviously, because high school was over. And now, just recently in the era of social media, I, listen and I see a lot of chit-chat of folks from my old high school, like, talking about this and that. And they started a board. And just for the hell of it, I put out, like, does anybody know what happened to Mrs. Valinati? And somebody, like, after a while, responded. And they're like, yeah, I think I know one of my old teachers is a friend of hers. And long story short, she reached back out to me on social media. I reconnected with Miss Valinati like 20 years later. And I was lucky enough to take her to dinner in Asbury Park to a wonderful, I think we had like this awesome Mexican somewhere on Cookman. Non-relevant, but I was lucky enough to take her out to dinner in Asbury Park, tell her the same story I'm telling you right now, and thank her for actually being a mentor to me all that time. And she didn't even know she was a mentor. So, point being, and to my people in the educational community especially, you never know when a kid's going to come back 20 years later and say, thank you, And to my teachers, educators, coaches, good people that work with the children, I salute you. You have my undying gratitude. It's your boy Dubby. I hope you enjoyed this story, and I will talk to y'all soon. You!